Hey, good afternoon everyone, it's Tractor Man 44 here. Today's the day we're going to go ahead and pull this trailer over there in the shed, and we're going to see if we can get the bed frame for that Frontier OS 27 to set on top of here. We're going to find out if all this work is going to pay off or not. I may end up having to put 4 more leveling legs underneath there for the stability whenever we're doing larger size logs. Now this can do 27-inch diameter, which is a pretty hefty log, and it'll be able to do probably 16 foot or something like that. If I have to add 4 more to them, I'll add 4 more to them, you know, in the proper location. But we're going to give her a shot right now with just 4 to start with. Well, the son-in-law just showed up, so he's going to settle it down on there for me. Well, I'm pretty happy with it so far. The son-in-law stopped by just right at the perfect time. So here's the final 84-inch section of the bed frame going in piece by piece. It's a little easier now that we've got the other 2 sections assembled, you know, a while back, because we're a little more familiar with all the parts and pieces and where they should go. But it's been a tough thing reading the instructions. It's not the easiest thing. I went up and got the missus. She'll be down a little bit just to double check and make sure I'm not doing something wrong.
I just don't want to go on it. You don't like him.
See, like you just... Boy, just think you'll be making sawdust in no time now.
Okay.
Huh?
Can't wait.
Come on, you're at heart, aren't you?
I don't like to play with you. I get dirty. The what now?
Sawmill.
The sawmill.
Rides where your wrist is resting right there, that shiny
On
part.
this?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then the yellow things that we're putting on,
Yes.
those are the safety catches that keeps the saw on track. If you're transporting it, there's little hooks that are right underneath there, and it holds them in place.
Okay, but you only need them unless you're transporting it.
Well, no, you use them there all the time because you could knock the sawmill off the track if you're real rough loading logs and stuff like that. So that's, yeah, you can't run it without those on there because there's not much. Well, there's nothing except for the weight that holds the sawmill on these grooves.
I thought maybe they were just pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty. They're pretty. I'd like for you to paint some designs on them. Yeah.
Little flowers.
Yeah. Well, at least I got her to come out and help me put this last little bit together. She had to figure out all the stuff in the directions. I'm not too good with the directions, but I do look at pictures pretty good though. But anyway, hey, I appreciate her coming out and giving me a hand. I can't wait till she starts. She's going to saw the first log on this thing. I'm going to put a piece of cedar on here, and she's going to cut the first log. Just wait and see. Yeah. You see, it's coming together pretty nicely. We still got to do all the squaring. Then we have to attach the bed frame to the actual trailer. Got my jacks under there. It's actually fairly sturdy. I'm a little concerned about it with the heavy log, but that's not anything to worry about yet. And I got to determine what's going to be the best working height. Obviously, this is way high. It's not going to be operated at this level right here. We have to come up with a plan as to how that's going to be put into operation to make it convenient for somebody that's somewhat vertically challenged as compared to my son and my son. And what the plan is to make sure this is perfectly square or perfectly in line, no bow in or whatever. I'm going to tack this in, tack the other end, then adjust the middle to the distance that I need up here from the outside edge of this to the string. I will adjust it and then weld in the middle, then in the middle of the middle, both directions until I'm sure that it's absolutely perfectly straight. Well, guys, I'm on the final stages of assembling the bed frame to the homemade trailer. And like I said, with everything that you build for yourself, you know, or home built, there's always concessions that you find yourself having to make. And there's a few concessions that I'm going to have to make on this, primarily because of the height. This is not going to be the working height. I'm going to actually lower it somewhat. This is the convenient height I've got for doing all the assembling and the leveling. But at any rate, there's still some issues I'm going to have to work through. But I'd kind of like to point out a couple of things about installing this on a homemade trailer. Now, I think if you buy the manufactured trailer for this, the bed frame itself actually bolts to the actual trailer frame. The trailer is only built for a 2-section, as I understand. So that means every time you transport it, you're going to have to put the 3rd section on and level that separate of the actual trailer. But their trailer didn't look to me, unfortunately, to be substantial enough to spend $1,400 on something I had material laying around the shop to build for myself. So that's why I opted to go with this taller, more substantial bar joist. They suggest that you stretch strings, which is a very good idea. So I don't know if you can focus on this here, but I've still got a string up here on the top. And they suggest taking just one of the nuts and resting underneath the string on both ends. That way you'll be able to see any dips in the carriage or whatever, or on the sides if you're wanting to make sure your frame is perfectly in line. You put it on the side like that, and that'll allow you the luxury of measuring to the spring and making sure you get all the wiggle out of your frame. Now, that's all in the instruction book, and that was a very good idea, a very good plan, and I used that to my benefit. So I went ahead and used a 4-foot bricklayer's level and then put my 9-inch Stanley laser level on top of the bricklayer's level, and that was what I was able to shoot the elevation down the bunks. Is once you got that level on the very first 2 bunks, you know, like from the middle out, you can measure right here to your spot and then just travel right on down to this one here, make your adjustment, get it at the exact level, make the next one, turn it around, and do the other ones the other direction. Now, what I did before I assembled the bed frame on top of the trailer, I sat here and I leveled my leveling jacks and made sure the trailer frame itself was level before I actually started doing any leveling on this here. Because if you start off with your trailer uneven, unlevel, left and right or forward and backwards, of course, by the time you go through all your exercise of leveling the leveling legs, of course, then you're still not actually level to the trailer. I'm trying not to scratch the paint. The next and very important step is this guy right here. This fancy yellow rail that sticks down under the side about 3/4 of an inch is responsible for being hooked by this guy right here to make sure it stays on the track. I can't just push the rig up here and just let it sit because I'm on an incline. I've got to come up with a way of latching it down, of securing it to the frame bed whenever I'm transporting the machine. You can't just rely on those clips, obviously, because it's just going to roll willy-nilly. It just come right off the end, you know. But got to devise a way to secure it, you know, to the frame bed. And then the cool thing about this is you'll be able to adjust it to get the tongue weight that you need. If you have a little bit of a smaller truck, you can adjust the tongue weight. If you got a bigger truck, it doesn't really matter. I do have a little bit of tongue weight on the tongue with just the empty trailer, and it felt to me like it was about 80 to 90 pounds tongue weight. And that's good to make sure that it won't bounce off or anything like that, you know, if you've got the load perfectly centered. The turning radius is fine. I never had to pull up, not one single time, putting it in the shed or getting it out of the shed and getting it over here. And I guess the next video is going to be servicing and getting that thing ready to start up and then firing it up for the first time. I guess that'll be the first of the official Sawmill videos. I do believe that this is the end of the OS 27 Sawmill trailer build. And you know what? This is Tractorman 44. And as always, I am out of here, guys. Okay, guys, now before you voice your concerns about pulling the trailer around with the sawmill all around the tail end, let me verify I'm just moving this to the top of the hill so I can adjust the sawmill to the center of the trailer or slightly in front of the axle to go ahead and bind it down then and go ahead and transport it over to the shop again. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to just a little bit in front of the wheels. Now, like I said before, I'm just going to strap this down with that ratcheting binder just to transfer this over to the shop to figure out the exact locations where I need to drill and pin for transport, you know, behind a vehicle on the highway. So the next video is actually going to be, I think, where we're going to start service and start up the motor for the very first time. Might do a little bit more of a comprehensive detail talking about the actual assembly of the mill, what I found, what I liked, and a few things that I might have disliked. So hang in there for a little bit longer. We'll be making some sawdust fly before too long, and might even make a piece of lumber. You can't ever tell. You know what? This is Trackman 44, and I'm out of here, guys.